I love The Crown. I have watched now all 4 seasons of the show, and I find it to be an absolute delight. I love these kinds of melodramas, and with every season, I've watched it as quickly as I possibly could. Now, because of the pandemic, I've expanded the kind of things that I'm covering, and so I decided to review The Crown this year. And I have to say, I find myself in a surprising position of having to point out things that I feel that this year the show left out, that I could tell, and I'm not even from the UK. So it makes me wonder about the previous seasons. Because, now as people are saying, I've seen some people say now we're getting to the good stuff, but I think, also we're getting to the stuff that is familiar to, or at least many of us have heard of, right? So I just want to point out that I still love this show and I think it's phenomenal, but I made some mistakes this season. As someone who loves history, I understand that, entertainment, movies and TV have to take some liberties. But I feel, leaving stuff out and misrepresenting things is, not the way. All right. So even though The Crown has been about Queen Elizabeth since day one, right? For the first time, the series takes on a strong feminist bent, even reflected in the pastel posters. I think that's an awesome poster, but I don't know how many people would watch the show based on that. You want things to have widespread appeal. By the way, I don't really think anybody watches The Crown. And I think that, Netflix cancels things left and right if it doesn't please the mighty algorithm. But I believe they keep The Crown because it's a crown jewel when it comes to awards. Although it better start winning some awards again. I think it only has 1 season to go. I think the show is so well received in industry circles that, other shows get canceled, it seems like only the fans are upset, which is kind of uncool, right? But, if awards voters get annoyed, they're like, where's the rest of my crown? Maybe that would be a step too far for Netflix. So anyway, it's never on any lists of the most watched things on streaming. Maybe, now that we have a top 10 and it's on the site, and that also we get the Nielsen numbers a month late, but still, we'll see how The Crown season 4 does. It does, again, have more popular and more well-known characters this time around. So yes, in the 1980s, England was shaped by 3 women, which to me I find actually very extraordinary and fascinating that no one's really made that point up until now. The Crown doesn't even do it directly, they do it indirectly. I think this poster is the most aggressive they've been. So anyway, you've got Queen Elizabeth once again, played by the amazing Olivia Colman. All the acting on the show is phenomenal. All the acting and writing is incredible. But anyway, you've got Queen Elizabeth joined by Margaret Thatcher and Diana Spencer as they enter the game, or as Diana sees it, the stage. Yes, many will be pleased that The Crown makes it clear that Thatcher had many faults, while others will be shocked that the show makes it clear Diana had faults as well. I was really surprised at that because, up until now, everyone has been very reluctant to criticize Diana, but this show clearly has no problem doing that. However, both Thatcher and Diana were very, very popular. Margaret Thatcher was prime minister for over a decade. She was elected in 1977 and she was re-elected twice. I think it's historically inaccurate and misleading to not portray why she was so popular. Because based on The Crown's portrayal, you would never guess that she would be re-elected and that she was, much less twice. I mean, I was watching it now. They were just like really being like, she's doing such a horrible job and she's ruining the country and everyone can see that and everyone's unhappy. And I'm like, but didn't she get reelected? So somebody's happy. So I would like to understand what was truly going on at that time period in the UK. So I felt that should have been depicted. Then as for Diana, while she was infamously manipulative from the press, Angelina Jolie took a lot of notes from Diana. Both of them would call the press before they would go somewhere for a personal matter. And, oh no, how'd the press get here and know about it? It's because these 2 women let them know. And also you could see just from her first meeting with Charles that she was very manipulative. It was, I don't want to give anything away, but the fact that he would be so obtuse and gullible, it's on him that he fell for that. She was also, though, beloved not just by England, but by the entire world. But The Crown, the show, paints her as some lost child who just wants to have fun and stumbles into celebrity because she's bored and no one in the family's paying attention to her. When in reality, she was shrewd and cunning, intentionally turning herself into a big star when she saw the opportunity. Some of the stuff about how she was having a hard time in the beginning is true, because I was fact-checking this show like crazy while I was watching it, because it seemed a little off. So some of the stuff in the beginning was true, But I don't think the show is true to the fact that she just became so popular and so famous. And she deserves credit for making that happen. Because she was so popular that there has to be a reason that she was. And you never see it watching this show. You would never guess. I mean, she only seems like she was mega popular because you know that she was. For instance, I thought it was really irresponsible to leave out her famous dance with John Travolta at the White House. Now, I know they already focused on a lot. Apparently, Diana danced a lot. But the John Travolta one was very important. It happened in 1985, smack in the middle of this season's time period. I thought they didn't include it because maybe it happened after 1990, but no, it happened in 1985. And it helped make her an international star. That was really, really important. If you only were to watch the show and weren't aware of Princess Diana from real life, you would have no idea just how truly popular she became globally by the time she and Charles really started to fall apart. And you would have no idea how she did it, because I don't think that the show does a good enough job depicting that. Also, Diana was I feel she had a lot of faults and was deeply manipulative. But one thing that I've always admired about her, besides, you got to give someone credit for being so successful in their goal, but she was a wonderful mother. And she was a top priority for her whole life, which is why her two sons to this day love her and remember her so fondly and are so protective of what happened to her and so scarred by it. I mean, they make it look like just when they were babies she really cared about what was going on with them, when, again, that's not true. Now, speaking of Charles, it's nice to see the crown be fair to him. It also helps that Josh O'Connor depicts Prince Charles at his very best inside and out. Prince Charles wishes he was like this. I hope audiences can see, though, how he and Diana are both really at fault. It really is both of their faults, as well as the people around them who did a horrible job not only pushing them together, but in terms of handling them. I mean, many of the problems between Charles and Diana could have been avoided, which is what makes it so frustrating to watch. I mean, I'm not going to give anything away, but I'll just say their anniversary gifts to each other are equally ridiculous. I mean, I think the show is kind of trying to make it, I don't know, I think they were both really bad gifts, and they just really showed and underscored, which was the brilliance of the scene, how horribly they were matched as a couple. And this season is really all about Charles and Diana and Margaret Thatcher. So much so that it almost seems like a different show than the previous seasons. You're like, where are my other favorite characters? And they're like, where are the fringes here? Oh, bye, wait. So that's a little bit disappointing because we have come to like those characters so much. Still, there are beautiful, clever, quiet moments throughout that are very revealing, just like amazingly revealing but yet they do it so subtly and unexpectedly. I mean, I really do feel that's partially the magic of this show, showing how members of the royal family truly feel and what they were like. I especially liked the episode where Elizabeth swore up and down that she never wanted to be queen, but got very upset when Margaret touched her royal button to ring for help. I thought that was just so telling. I thought that was great. And again, those moments are thanks to the script and also to an incredible cast. Speaking of this show getting too crowded, The Crown is becoming more and more about whether or not England should even have a monarchy, and this show seems to be making a very strong case that it should not. I myself in the past have questioned this. I mean, I'm an outsider from the United States questioning it, although I've always felt that it helps the UK tourism, just on that front alone. But watching the show, it is a ridiculous expense that the UK taxpayers are asked to fund. I mean, the royal family is basically, according to the show, living a life of luxury at the expense of the taxpayers, and clearly this royal family has little interest in those taxpayers. Plus, the family continues to grow and expand. I mean, the Queen says that she had 4 children because she felt she messed up with the first 2. And taxpayers are expected to fund additional, not just children, but those whole family lines forever. I'd be like, we're only funding the first two born, and then the rest of them you can pay for out of your own estates. I mean, but on that note, I feel that The Crown doesn't show any of the charity work that Diana did beyond that one trip to the hospital that they show. And they made it look like it was just something she fell into. Diana was much smarter than that, or at least, again, came to be. By the end of the time period of this season, Diana was not some naive person who just lucked out sometimes. And also, there's no mention of Prince Charles here they show him like obsessed with gardening. And I don't know if this came later or not, but Charles, I know, at least in the past maybe the last couple of years now, has been working very hard to preserve England's historical buildings and architecture, as people try and build more modern things. Prince Charles has made it one of his causes to make sure that preserving, the look of old England and that heritage, which is important, I think. So again, I find the Crown guilty of only telling part of the story, to the discredit of the subjects. I mean, it's all rather juicy. It's delightfully juicy. Another amazing melodrama about a rich, powerful family and their indiscretions. It's great. But here the problem is that these are real people. And for the first time, the realization that they're being slightly, or perhaps even more than slightly, misrepresented cast a slight pall over my enjoyment of the show. I was like, this is great, but I think that's not totally true. And if that's not totally true, well, then maybe that's not totally true. I mean, I guess I lost a little bit of faith in the show, trust in the show, that I could just relax and let them take me on a journey. I'm like, you guys are lying a little bit or not telling the whole truth. But I still loved it. I can't even pick a favorite episode. I had such a great time every hour. It's just so good. It's great. It's 10 hours, 10 episodes. I watched it in 3 nights. I just absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for more. So that's my review of The Crown. Sorry, royal family. What do you think? And what are your thoughts on the royal family? Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.